Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me watch this video. Today we will actually make this type of expandable travel journal. So I told you in my previous video, in a walkthrough video, that to make this project I used this my special paper. I understand that this paper is not available right now at Joann's Fabric, so I'm not sure if you can purchase this one right now. Keep an eye on it for it, because it is truly great deal. So because not all of you can get this paper or have this paper, I'm choosing to use Magical Thinking collection paper by Craftsmith, I guess. It's a special edition. This one is available in MaKala's. It is beautiful paper, so I thought, why not? Let's make something out of this one. And I did have a video previously from MaKala's haul, and that paper was displayed in that video. So MaKala's, you can get this one. So to make this, I'm just gonna position in here, we will need 2 pieces of chipboard, 8 1/4 by 6 1/2, and this we will use to act as a cover for our journal. Okay, so as a base for the cover I will use this cardstock, which came from this collection, Pastel Salads, Craftsmith, and I purchased this one also in MaKala's. So we will pre-cut this paper to 8 1/2 by 10 1/4, and we will need 2 pieces, 8 1/2 by 10 1/4. So now we will wrap the chipboard, both pieces. So we will apply the glue, and I'm trying to position this right on the middle of this paper. Let's squish it to make sure it adheres. And we will do the same thing to the other piece. Try to position on the middle. Let's squish this. Let's make sure that everything adheres. And now we will score all around both pieces. We will fold them over. And I will run the spatula against the edges to make this really nice finish to our pages, to our cover. And I will do the same on this one. So now we will miter the corners, and I'm leaving a little bit of paper, as you can see in here, to make sure that I have enough paper to cover those corners. And the same to the second piece. So now we can glue all these sides to the chipboard. Okay, if you think your corners are a little bit too sharp, you can kind of run spatula around it to soften them up a little bit. Okay. And we do the same thing to the other piece, which I will do this off camera, and I will show you how this looks like. Okay, so I do have both chipboards wrapped. So now we will need to cut the paper to cover the front. I chose this paper for the front. So we will cut this to 6 1/4 by 8 1/2. And we will need 2 pieces. Six and a quarter by 8 1/2. And we will glue them. And actually, this should be 8 inches. So I need to trim this down to 8 inches. Okay, so we will glue it just like that, and we will keep 1/8 of an inch trim all around it. So you position this paper on the middle of that covered chipboard. So I will do this off camera and I will be right back. Okay, so I got the cover done. And now we will cover the back side of the cover pages. For that, I will be using by Craftsmith spring marbles. I will use paper from this collection. So I'm choosing this one. And I will cut this paper to 6 1/4 by 8. And I will cut one more piece to cover the back, and that's 6 1/4 by 8. So now we will glue this just like that. And let's make sure this is all squished, the glue is spread, and everything adheres. And we do the same thing to this side. And when I'm positioning this paper, I'm paying attention to the border around it. It should be approximately 1/8 of an inch. And again, we're gonna squish it, we're gonna spread this glue and make sure it adheres. And here is the cover, the back and the front. Now, on the inside of this collection, there is this sheet, and I will use something from it. And because the sheet is so busy, I'm gonna try to use something that will tone down that page. So I will use this piece. Just to put it on the front, like this. You can put it towards the side. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna put it on the middle. Okay, so this will be our front. I do have some MaKala stickers, so I will place this on the back. So if you are planning to make some of these and maybe sell them, you can put your logo on the back, sell them, so maybe you will have returning customer. So this will be the front, this will be the back. I'm not going to concentrate on the back right now, so I will put this away and we will work on the front. So for the front, I think I'm going to use this paper to create the pockets, and those are simple pockets, and I will cut them at 6 inches wide. And now the first pocket will be 2.5 inches tall. Actually, we're gonna make it 2 1/4. Then we're gonna need one strip, 1 1/4. And we will need one strip 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so we will pre-cut backing for these pieces, and I will use the leftover pieces I have from the border, from the cover. So those are leftover pieces, and we need to pre-cut them to 6 1/4. Now this one is 2 1/4, so we're gonna cut to 2 1/2. So that's gonna be against this one. Now this is 1 1/4. So we need to cut piece 6 1/4 by 1 1/2. And that's gonna be for this piece. And we got one small piece left, and it seems like this one will be perfect. So this piece is 3/4 of an inch, so you need strip 1 inch wide by 6 1/4. So now we will glue these pieces just like that. We are looking for this nice border all around. So let's glue them. Let's make sure this is stuck. Okay, so we have our packets done, or pieces done. So now we can just start gluing them like this. You want to leave a little bit space in between, just so you have enough room to put something in there. So the bottom one, we will apply the glue only on 3 sides. Small strip of glue only on 3 sides. The side without the glue will be the top. So we just created our first pocket. Now this piece, we will apply the glue only on the side edges, right here. And a little space in between. Okay, and we got last piece left, also glue only on the edges. And try to position this one with approximately the same distance as you have in here. It's just, I think, when you space this just about the same way, visually it makes the difference, I believe. It looks like a real quality piece. So our front cover is done. And now we will start working on the notebooks. So for the notebooks, I used, in my original project, I used 4. I'm gonna use only 3 because I just wanted to give you idea how to make this and how to make this extendable. So you could make 4 or you could make 5 different notebooks. It depends how thick you really want your traveling journal to be. So I think this one I'm gonna make with 3, just to show you how it's done. So for the notebooks, we will need to cut cardstock. Each notebook is 5.5 inches wide and 8.25 inches tall. So we will be cutting strips of cardstock. So the height of the cardstock will be 8.25. So as you can see, I'm trimming a little bit off. And now we need to cut, I need to cut 6 strips, 1.25 inches wide strips. Because I have 3 notepads, I'm gonna need 6 strips. If you have 4, you're gonna need 8. So basically it's gonna be, we will use 2 strips per notebook. So 1.25, that's 1, 1.25, 2, 1.25, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let me just make sure that I cut them correctly, and they are. Some of them might be just a tiny bit thicker, but it shouldn't make any difference. I am gonna trim it a little bit. This one seems like it's just tiny bit more than 1.25. Okay. Now these all seem to be right. So now we need to score this. So each strip we're gonna score at 7/8. Okay. So now I will fold right where that score is. I will just make it fold. And it seems like when you grab the taller piece and try to fold it, it's just a little bit easier. Just like that. So now I did the fold and the score just to show me pretty much where I need to glue it. So what we're gonna do, we will apply the glue, but only on that thin piece. And now I'm gonna take the notebook and I'm gonna try to position even on the top and the bottom. And that score, it becomes your guide. So when you fold that fold should be right at the edge of your notebook. You see, when we fold that, you have this trim in here. That's what we want. So we're gonna do this to all 3 or 4 notebooks, depending how many you are making. And again, we're gonna match up the score on both sides to the edge of that notebook. So when you fold that, you are actually able to fold. So you can see now when it's glued and I fold that, here is the edge. I just make sure that the glue is really stuck. We got the second one, and now we will work on the last one, or you're gonna work on a 4th one. Again, I'm matching up score to the edge of the notebook. I'm trying to look at it. Okay, I have to be able to fold this. So now you can see we can fold this, and that's exactly what we want. If you look from the top, the score is right at the edge of your notebook, and that's what you want. So now we have our 3 notebooks, and you see this is where they will be actually nesting. But now we need to work on the opposite side. So this is where the glue is. So we're gonna turn this around, and now we're gonna work on the opposite side. Now this side is scored because we want this, when it's all glued together, that it is flexible. That's the reason why we created this score. Now on this piece, we will apply the glue on the entire piece, just like that. The score should be even with the edge, but you don't have to worry about it too much as long as you match this paper on the outside right here to the one on the bottom. So now let's make sure this is all stuck. Okay, just make sure that your notepad is glued. If you got anything sticking out, you have to apply more glue, because this should be really sturdy. So you see, we are almost creating like a little fan on this side that contains two sides of that cardstock glued together, and those 2 1/4-inch pieces, they are almost trapping that notebook. So we're gonna do the same thing with the other 2 or 3 pieces. It really depends how many notebooks you do want to have in your traveler's folio or journal. I guess this is more of a journal than a folio. So now I'm matching up the outside paper right here, the cardstock, and if you match this up, you know that your notebook will be glued the right way and it will be straight. So let's make sure this all adheres. Just like that. And you can see we have another one. And we have one more left. And we will do the same thing. We will apply the glue, the score towards your notebook, and we match up the cardstock on the outside right here. So if you match up this side, you know that everything is gonna get glued fine on the notebook. And also pay attention to the top and the bottom. You don't want to have any of that brown popping up on the top or the bottom, but if it does, it's really no big deal. So here are the notebooks. So now what I did, I covered all of the outside pieces of the notebook with marble paper. So let me get the paper and I will be right back. So we will cut the paper wider and a little bit taller. So we will cut 6 pieces. The width we will cut at 5 1/4, 5 1/2. We just need a little bit bigger piece. I'm gonna cut it 5 1/2. So we got 1, and actually from one sheet I can cut 2 of them, 5 1/2, and we need total of 6. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So for this part you need 3 sheets of paper 12 by 12 or 4 sheets of paper 12 by 12 if you are using 4 of these. So 1 sheet of paper per notepad. And I almost forgot, we need to cut the height of the notepad is 8 1/4, so we will cut it at 8 1/2. So now every front and the back of the notepad we will glue the pieces we just cut. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna butt the piece of paper just against this black trim, and let's make sure that at least one side is nice and even. If it's not, really no big deal, because we will trim it. So now we can apply the glue. Don't go too close to the edge. You don't want glue to spill over and actually glue your pages. So now when I position this, I'm trying to get the bottom straight. And let's squish it to make sure everything is stuck. And we got our one page done. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the back. Now the only thing is, if you are trying to keep the design and match your pages, just pay attention to which color you are using where. Because if this is the front, and you can see I got that brownish color in here, most likely I would like to use something similar to match this page with this one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna glue in here this same type of paper. So you might want to pay attention to how you're gonna put this together, just to make sure everything is matching. Okay, so this is my second one. As you can see, I will be using different paper for each side of the notepad. So what I'm gonna do, this is matching now, I'm gonna turn this around, and let's just say I'm gonna match to this one, which means I want something with blue on this side. So I'm gonna apply glue right here, and I'm gonna match this up. You want to make sure that this is really close to that black trim, so it looks nice and professionally made. Okay, so now, as you can see, when we open the notepad, even though the sections are different, but they will be coordinated from one to the other. So when we turn this over, and this is gonna be the next page, I'm gonna make this one green on both sides, just like that. So again, I will apply glue right here. Okay, so now I need to do this one. Okay, so as you can see, our pages are getting there. So now I have one last one left. If you're making 4 of these notepads, then you will have 2 sides left or 1 notepad left to do. Okay. So now if you look at it, this is kind of how this is going to look like. So when you open it, you got matching pages. You open to the next one and the next one. next one, and everything will be matching. But we are not done yet. So we glue the paper together, but now we have to trim all that excess. So I am just gonna use my knife. I'm gonna put the ruler right against that and just trim this off. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Just trim it off. And we will do the same thing to all pages. Wherever you see the paper from underneath your cover, we will trim this off. Okay, so first one is done. Now you can see when you put them together, you got this really nice finish. So I will trim the rest of these and I will be right back. Okay, so I did trim all of the notebooks, and as you can see, they are beautifully finished on both sides. When you open them, there is actually beautiful presentation for every single one of them. So now we can create our little pockets right here.